We're surrounded by it in our homes, in our wardrobes, even in our cars. Today, we're surrounded by it in the field. We're talking about cotton, the world's most wonderful and widely used natural fiber. We're here today with Jason Luckey with Reg Luckey and Sons. And Jason, tell me about this. You've got a lot of cotton. How many acres have we got here?
Well, this field is about 30 acres, but I grow about 1,700 acres of cotton a year.
And not just cotton, you grow other things as well.
Yeah, I farm in partnership with my brother and my brother Ken and my nephew Zach Luckey. We have corn, soybeans, winter wheat, and then also our beef cattle operation as well.
You're not busy.
No, not at all.
But cotton is your baby.
Yeah, I love cotton. I've been partial to cotton. When I was little, you wanted to be in the cotton field, and Daddy was partial to cotton, and I went to the cotton field and I played in the cotton, and back in the days when we dumped it in the trailer, and so cotton's just been ingrained in me since the first days on the farm.
I grew up with cotton as well, but I've realized that a lot of people didn't. Mm-hmm. So when we say a cotton boll, explain to us what a cotton boll is.
Cotton starts as a bloom.
Right.
So you hope you're blooming by the 4th of July, and it'll put out that pretty white flower, which will turn pink and then fall off. And then when it falls off, you're left with the small boll, and of course the boll will grow bigger. And here are a couple we found over on the edge. After Mother Nature finishes her process, we'll put some boll opener, which is just simply, it's Ethifon, which is simply the hormone of a plant. We give it a little dose when the top bolls get mature.
Basically, you're just tricking the plant. It's thinking it's time to open up and let loose of the seeds.
Yep.
In harvesting this, obviously this is what we're looking for. So you start harvesting at what time of the year every year?
October the 1st, you're gonna start harvesting cotton. Plant it May the 1st. A little bit in April if the weather's just perfect.
Yeah.
April's that bonus, but plant May the 1st, harvest October the 1st.
And you go through when?
Weather permitting, good Octobers. We've finished up Halloween, but usually you want to be finished by Thanksgiving.
Got it. So your Thanksgiving gift is clean fields of harvested cotton.
That's right.
Tell me what variety of cotton that you grow.
I like the Delta Pine brand cottonseed.
So technically, cotton is a perennial, but you grow it as an annual.
Yeah.
Because for disease control and just control of your field.
Right. And up here in the northern side of the cotton belt, even though it's a perennial, the frost, and we're so cold, the frost will kill it. And so we have to come back with another planting next year. Several years ago, the biggest pest of cotton is such a beautiful plant, every bug likes to eat it, so it's a lot of management, but the biggest was the boll weevil. And I mean, obviously he got his name, and that's all he wanted was cotton, and he was the boll weevil, and the only host plant was cotton. And once we discovered that, well then we started the boll weevil eradication program, and we just concentrated. It was initiated through the government and the farmer program together, joint program, and once you signed up, every field was sprayed by an agency and took the farmers' hands out of it, and they sprayed it on a weekly basis, and we got the boll weevil eradicated, and we pushed him back to Mexico. So in keeping with the boll weevil eradication, if you want to grow ornamental cotton, you need to go to your local extension office and report that you're going to have cotton. If there's any issues with boll weevils, then they can bring a boll weevil trap and a pheromone or whatever to make sure that, especially close to cotton growing regions, being mindful and respectful of the work cotton growers have done to eradicate the boll weevil in our region.
Right. So just your county local extension office, just let them know that you're thinking about this or going to do it, and then they will guide you through the steps with that. Mm-hmm. What are your challenges for growing this plant in Tennessee?
Well, of course, this year the weather has been a challenge this fall. It's pick a couple of days and then rain for 4 days, and then you got to kind of let it fluff back out. But on the northern side of Cotton Belt, you're always fighting cooler temperatures, getting it planted and getting it up and growing. You want to get it planted as early as you can, and so sometimes the soils are still cool. And then through the growing season, several bugs really enjoy the cotton plant, the fruits. Before the bloom is what we call a square, and several insects like to pierce the square and suck the square. Well, once that is pierced, then it throws the square off, and once that bloom is lost, then that's lost. So you have to manage your fields for insect pressure. Modern technology, we've begun to isolate some diseases, begin to figure out some varieties specific to diseases, and beginning to use fungicides a little more in the production of cotton, especially where you have, but again, they're being on the northern end of the cotton belt. And the winters we have kind of helps us keep some disease pressure pressed. Here in West Tennessee, a lot of cotton farmers practice heavy rotation, which also helps in disease and insects. Us having a grain cotton, this is the first Rolling Hill farm here. This is the first year we've had this in cotton in several years, but we like to rotate on that deal just from diseases for corn, beans, cotton, not going one crop behind the other. Keeping those crops moved around helps on your disease and also helps pests, because as you have a field this winter laid with cotton stalks, or obviously the pests that are specific to corn, beans, or cotton will kind of overwinter in that
Right.
trash, and if you plant the same crop back in, well, then they don't have to go far to look.
That's right. They're already there.
They're already there.
So just like the cotton gin revolutionized cotton growing and production, this is yet another step in making it a little more efficient process.
That's right. That's right. These newer pickers came in around 2008, 2009. These pickers revolutionized cotton to simplify labor, to simplify the picking process. It was time consuming to dump. You dump on the go while you're picking, and it has allowed farmers to increase the acres they can get through one machine, because once you start picking in a day, you can basically just keep right on picking all day. Don't have to stop and dump. Just stop and take a lunch break and stop and refuel, and you're off again. It's got a baling chamber, much like a hay baler. It'll bale the cotton in these round rolls. When it gets to the program size that you want it to make, then it puts the plastic around it, which protects it from the environment. And as you can see, we've stacked 4 of them together, and that's getting them ready to go to the gin.
And tell me, what does this weigh?
Each one weighs about 5,000 pounds of seed cotton. When they get the trash and the seed extracted, each one will gin out about 4 to 4 1/4 500-pound bales of lint cotton.
Wow.
As the machine's going down the row will go right through here, and these headers and stalk lifters and that press sheet will keep the plants pressed up against those spindles, and on those spindles are little sharp burrs. The spindles go around, pick the cotton, the little burr grabs it, kind of wraps it around, comes around to the doffer, and the doffer, those little knobs, grab it, throw it into the air duct blows it into the basket.
I'm assuming I'm following you up this.
Yeah, it'd be better to go like we're gonna go. We're gonna take off and drive down the rows and let the machine do what it does best, and that's to pick the cotton and wrap it up in the bales and set it out.
Perfect. Okay, let's pick cotton.
Let's do it.
So Jason, tell us your goals for your harvest.
Cotton crop, you're shooting for yield, and then once it's ginned, each sample from a bale is taken and sent to the classing office. There's one in Memphis, and there's 4 or 5 throughout the cotton belt. Unlike corn or soybeans, cotton is grade issues. When they send the grades to the classing office, it's all computer. It's taking that small, one little microscopic fiber, and they measure the length of the fiber, the length, the strength, and the micronair is actually the circumference of that one little fiber. The other is the whiteness of it. Obviously, the color grade, and 21s and 31s are the whiter cotton. With the rain and it's not as white as it should be. When you start in the good early fall cotton, and it hadn't had a lot of rain on it, and it's really good and white. Well, you can see there, it's got some tinge to it. Mm-hmm. It's got some
just
tinge.
A little bit.
Yep. And so when you put that, you can kind of see the tinge
right
there, and that's just from rain and
weather.
The weather we've had. Grades have been challenging this year, but that's just a reflection of Mother Nature. As you start looking at the process to keep the mills spinning and to keep the dyes and everything working, you shoot for that good graded cotton. And as I'm picking out varieties of seed In the springtime, I look for high yielders, and sometimes you may give up a yield to pick a little grade because the grade will offset some of the yield differential.
Do you have people that want to stop and actually just kind of pick
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit all the time?
I have some fields on 45 Highway, and
Yeah.
when I'm picking, a lot of times, of course, it happened several times when I was picking. I can only imagine what happens on a daily basis, but I see people in it all the time. And in fact, I had a fella call the other day about he and his wife wanted to come. We want to do our wedding pictures in your cotton field. I said, sure, have at it. So yeah.
It does have a connection that you don't even realize sometimes. So thank you for being a wise steward
I'm glad to do
of
it.
the land and for taking care of a historically southern crop that is quite beautiful.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can you even imagine life without cotton for you?
No, I can't. Like, I don't know what I would do. I'd be a hockey player. I'd try out for the Predators.
And I'm going to play for the NBA.
All right.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.